Hi everyone, it's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're watching or listening, whether you're here in the United States or any point across this beautiful world of our planet Earth. We are so grateful to have you with us. We're well over 450 episodes in our portfolio, and it's only thanks to you that we are continuing, that we have the demand to put content out. So thank you for that. And if you can give us a thumbs up, like, follow, subscribe, share, maybe even reach out to 25 or 50 contacts in your phone, let them know about the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast, and just Voices for Voices in general. Along with that, we have as an asset mythical creatures around the world. As you know, in the latter part of 2025, we acquired mythical creatures around the world, and we wanted to take this time, this episode, to have a little update on what's going on with mythical creatures around the world. And as the episode progresses, also the pressure and the the trauma that can come with having so many eyeballs uh, on the mythical creatures around the world, and I echo having that with Voices for Voices. It's something we're grateful to have you and so many others across the world. And there's Lucy, she wants to see herself on the show. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lucy. But we're going to continue, okay? Uh, and yeah, as if you've caught the last few episodes, our family has grown by one dog. And so here she is. She wants to be a part of this. So we're going to open up the show talking about mythical creatures around the world, updates about that great platform with the CEO, the person behind uh, mythical creatures around. Oh, I got my nose. That was the first one, first kind, first time. And so with us today we have David Solomon. So David, I'll try to work through Lucy while you work through sharing about mythical creatures around the world and the stress and the trauma that can kind of come with that pressure of having so many people watching and listening. So I'll open up the floor for our guest, and that
Thank you,
is,
Justin.
yeah. So go ahead,
I
Dave.
I I had to I had to laugh so hard when I saw the dog just crawl right up on
Oh
you.
yeah, yeah. She's like, it's like almost like a. And obviously she's not a bird, but she'll just perch herself up because how short she is. She likes to see what's going on, and so uh,
Oh, she just wants to be part of the show, you know.
yeah,
She wants to
absolutely,
be part of the show.
yeah. So if you want to
Um,
take it from here.
yeah. Um, so right off the top, before we do anything, there's a lady named Andy, and she commented on one of my posts, and it was in 2017. And I made a mistake in my 10 years of running this. It was during a time where my mom was really sick, and I forgot to post one of the states that this tribe was from, which was Mississippi. And this person called me out on it. And so I personally wanted to apologize for that. When I see I've made a mistake on Mythical, as crazy as it is, I will go out of my way to make it right, no matter what it is. And this isn't the first time. Um, I'm a folklorist, but some countries you get wrong because, again, different regions and different countries can think something else. And, you can have a culture crisis very easily if you are not careful. So I wanted to apologize to Andy for that from Mississippi for those comments. I thank you very much for uh, commenting on that. Mythical creatures around the world is my passion. Um, it's why I write. It's why I breathe, and it's a God-given gift. It also comes with a lot of pressure and a lot of anxiety with it. And part of that anxiety is a lot of people look up to it, and God's going to use it in the coming days and weeks and months and years and decades and centuries to bring people to Him that don't even know who He is from countries that just don't even know anything about the Bible. Um, and it's a lot of pressure because um, a majority of the big Christian fantasy writers, maybe like the top five, uh, are against me and against the odds. And it's been hard because one of them was my mentor, and it's made me doubt myself, uh, really doubt myself. And Mythical was my mom's legacy because technically she created it, not me, long before it was Facebook. So it's been going on a long time. Um, and it connects to my great grandma, actually, the stories, the originals. So I wanted to talk about Mythical, the pressure that I feel, and also how to be accountable with Mythical and in a way forward. Um, Add some prayer with two good people about 2 days ago. From all the stress and all the anxiety, my jaw swelled up to about 5 times its size, on top of being blind in one eye. Oh, don't you love it? Um, and they prayed over me, and the jaw went down, and I was in deep prayer over that, over what that meant, what God was trying to show me, and um, another person who I look up to as a mentor who has saved my life many times. Um, he is openly involved with a project called The Dance Man. And, he always keeps me on focus, trying to tell me, which way to steer the ship. And I get sidetracked very easily because I have so many projects, so many people wanting my attention. And sometimes it takes away from family too, which I'm not ashamed to say I've neglected, and not on purpose either. But when you're CEO and you run things, you do the best you can. And sometimes it's not perfect. And sometimes you miss opportunities and miss moments. And I have. Um, on top of that, um, my my 9-year-old, now 10, is also taking the reins with Mythical and telling his own stories, and we're going to see those come into fruition. And my beautiful and wonderful wife also released her first published book, um, and so she's coming into fruition with her writing and her work in Mythical, not just as an editor but as a creator. And I love that about her because she has such a brilliant mind. When we first met, um, she helped create some of those characters you see on Mythical, and she has a very brilliant mind on how she creates. Mythical foremost is a family business of doing these folklore characters, reaching culture, and telling the stories that we forgot, telling the Marvel and DC of where those heroes came from. And it's my honor and my privilege to be able to have that opportunity and that experience to let someone learn history, culture, and heritage of where they come from. And that matters to me. And today, finally, with the eye stroke, which is healing, um, I'm probably going to be blind in one eye for a little bit. We're looking at a 9 month recovery. We just don't know. Um, so I'm getting used to drawing one eyed, if you will. Um, and this week, we're going to start posting on Mythical regularly. Um, you're going to see a little bit of a change back to what it originally became when my mom started taking the reins in 2018 and 19 with rescuing Santa from Portland, Oregon. We're going to continue those stories. Um, we're going to continue from Fort Worth, Texas. So you're going to see a lot of Fort Worth, Texas going on. And Oregon is still a big part of Mythical because let's be honest, that's where I became a writer. That's where I was baptized. That's where God gave me this gift to write 200 pages a day. And that's why Mythical exists. So Oregon is always going to be that big part. The one thing that I've learned in watching everything go down with people that hate me and all this negativeness, I don't ever want to write a story that's going to bring someone down. And I don't ever want to mock someone just because it's funny. I want to build people up. I want to make them laugh and cry and think about their life and become a better person when you come out of that story. That's why I write. Some of the stories I write are going to be preachy, some of them are not, but they still are going to take place in the Christian world based story of mythical creatures around the world. And that was a hard decision to make um, because I've done secular stories and how to go back and get a little more Christian in there. But that's how I'm going to do it. I'm going to release my full catalog of novels over the years with our publishing house so you guys can get your hands on it. And big things are coming for Mythical. Um, Today is also St. Patrick's Day, and we're going to post a special myth for that just because of St. Patrick's Day. I really wanted to I really wanted to talk about um, what God's been doing in my life as a writer because I haven't been able to write. And I get teared up at this, but the stories that God gives me, when I write them, I learn from those characters. And then I show that to someone else and they go, wow, I never thought of God that way, or I never knew that about the Bible. These stories are going to be classics like Tolkien or C.S. Lewis, not because of me wanting fame, not because I want my name in lights. But because God literally breathes the words onto the page, and it's out of my control. I tried writing secular for a few days and it just doesn't work. God doesn't breathe the words onto the page, it just doesn't work. And I'm honored to be his messenger. Um, and if you will, oracle to share the gospel and share truth in these stories to countries that don't even know him. The problem is Mythical is so big, every character is now going to be canonized, and you guys are going to see a timeline like Star Wars where every story I've ever written on my Facebook is going to actually happen in real time. I'll give you an example. Um, when I published in Dallas, there was a tornado that hit. And me and my mom were in Dallas at the time during that tornado. And so I wrote about the myth of that tornado, the native myth of the tribe there. and uh, um, there's a modern day myth that this hero saves people from storms in Dallas. Dallas PD talks about it. So, and I put that in there. And then the next day, we had a hurricane hit North Carolina. And so I posted about all the heroes from North Carolina, the mythology heroes from myths and legends. And they get together and they save people from the hurricane. And then a few months later, a national disaster of the Santa Rosa fire. And all these heroes from North California and Southern Oregon come together and help the community of Paradise in Santa Rosa. And you can't go back and remake that. They're great characters, but they serve their purpose in that moment to help those people during those heroic times. And unlike Marvel and DC, where we keep rebooting, and I see it as pointless, you do the next generation of heroes, and this goes on for hundreds of years, as my mom wanted it. Um, One major aspect is I will be publishing something uh, that is older than me by about 100 years of when Mythical was first created as a idea, and I'm honored and privileged to do that. Mythical is going back to its roots, but also going to keep that canon alive, where every story matters, and there's going to be a timeline, so you guys can have that timeline. Because slowly, but not too slow, we're going to see adaptations from comic books to video games to movies to TV shows and also audio dramas and music. We're going to see things come into fruition, and you reap what you sow, and we're seeing that in real time. And it's really blowing my mind what we're going to be able to accomplish. A lot of people have doubted Justin, um, and said this is, a bunch of fruitcake and David Solomon is a hater. And I don't hate anybody. I want to make the world a better place and give back to people that have been taken from, because I was taken from and I was hurt in the Christian writing community. And I want to create a safe space for future authors that want to step in and tell their story. And Voices for Voices Publishing is going to stand on that platform to create new genres within and create new moments in history, whether culture, country, maybe even space. We really don't know. There's a lot of things that are happening. And we're not trying to be negative. We're not trying to beat anyone down. We've called out things because it's simply wrong. And that's all we've done. And I don't think we need to call that out anymore at this moment. I think people have heard it, and I'm happy. But now we have to focus on what to do next, and that is light that path for families to come and go, oh, I can read your book and not worry about content. You know, secular authors have so much sex and language and drugs. It's not even funny. You're watching a porn in a teen novel now, and parents are actually complaining on TikTok all the time. My friend Sean told me that one. So, you know, we really got to learn a lesson that parents are seeking clean content like what we're going to put out. Um, During this, uh, I created a concept to go back to Mythical's roots, SCI, where there's going to be police that are mythical and human, but also the superhero aspect, keeping it there. And, you know, we want to merchandise, we want to do everything we can to reboot a genre and bring life into a dead genre that has been damaged by people that say they're good but have bad intentions. And I just praise God for that gift that He's given me and my family and those that support me and are around me and have my back. I was talking to a studio, Mike, last night, and he's been so patient, so kind, so loving. And we've been delayed through one demonic attack after another. and, uh, and we're going to get this done. We're going to see this to fruition. We're going to be shooting a project in LA in the future. Um, and it's going to be based on my mom's vision. We're going to be shooting in Texas and we're going to be shooting in other states. And we have actors on board, we have producers on board. We just had a lot of delays because the devil has gotten in the way, and there's nothing wrong about that. Literally, I mean, the eye stroke, this jaw thing, um, it's just been catastrophic. Um, and then you look at the little things in life, and it makes it all the worthwhile. It's um, it's a lot of pressure though, because I have a lot of celebrities that I talk to every day too. And now I'm learning that, like it or not, I am one. And Justin, for lack of a better term, is kind of one. Um, People in Oregon were citing my writing for myths and legends and stories, and people are citing Voices for Voices on different topics, even government now. We are playing a big role in the world. And that's an honor and a privilege, but it's also dangerous if you use it to put people down in any way. A lot of you have said that there are some dark episodes Justin has done. Absolutely. There was a dark moment where those needed to be done. But we're in that light now where things are coming to light. And God is saying, no child is for sale, and these things have to stop. And the Bible says that we are in this world, not of this world. And it's better to be hated than loved. if you're taking a stand for what is right and leaning on Him and following Him, and He will direct your path. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me. Lead me in the way of everlasting. Tells us that. And so I've searched my heart and I've let God know my thoughts, and I want Him to lead me on that way, lead me on that path. And God is doing that. And part of that is healing, forgiving, and writing stories that you're uncomfortable with that have such a powerful impact on people that maybe hurt you or harmed you. And maybe the story is for them to come back to God. That is not an easy moment to be in, but it has happened. So, Mythical Creatures is going back to its roots of love and community, but we're also going to build something better, bigger, and brighter than anything out there for countries, for community, and for Christians alike. You want a Marvel and DC, we're going to give it to you. You want a Star Wars universe, we're going to give it to you. But we're going to do this a little differently, and we're going to have accountability. I've struggled for a long time whether I put my mature content in our publishing house, and the answer is yes, because adults need God too. But you got to know the kids may try to read it. So there has to be, we have to have disclosure on these books because we live in a time where kids are just picking up these pornographic books. Court of Roses, I believe, by Sarah J. Maas. And there's all these sex scenes in there, and it's wrong. I want adults to pick up my book, know there's going to be something in there, and know that kids shouldn't be reading it and learn something from it. I want to talk to those adults about what's right and wrong. I want my stories to impact. I want my stories to be like Superman, but have a bigger impact than Superman. And we're going to see that in real time. God has promised that to me and to my family and to Justin and to all those involved. And there is going to be more pushback than ever. And the devil's going to try to attack. And you just got to keep going. And you got to keep climbing that hill. And you got to not fall down. And that is the hardest part, relying on faith of something you cannot see, but something that you are believing in. That is faith on fire. And I'm climbing that hill right now. And there's a lot of valley to get through to get to the other side after more hills until you get to the ocean, to the end. A lot of valleys, a lot of mountains that we're climbing and going through. But that is what life is when you're a Christian, when you're called to walk with Christ. It is a burden to walk with Christ because the world does not love you. And there's a lot of evil in the world right now. The devil is very much at work, playing a role in people's lives and weird Hollywood and, you know, what you watch, what you read. And we can impact that and have kids come back to truth. You know, I've learned so much this week as a father, as a husband, as an author, as a creator, as an artist. And the one thing I can take away is don't ever put others down. The words of your mouth are sharp, and your words can hurt someone else, and they may not hurt you. You don't know what that person's going through, and you may cause them to end their life. I have learned so much with the eye stroke, with the jaw swelling, all of the health complications that have come up. I've learned a lot. As a new dad to a baby, as everyone knows, I've learned patience. I've learned how much hard work my wife goes through. And I have a lot of respect for moms of what they go through because it's not easy. We say they're not working when they're uh, taking care of the kids, and there are certain things we just cannot do as fathers, as guys, as husbands. But we should not be putting them down either, just because they're not wearing a suit and tie and doing all the work. And you know, they are doing work. They're doing work. They're just doing work that we can't, and that's how God made it. Also, that's really taught me a lot. Um, it's truly an adventure every day and a privilege, and to watch this family grow. Also, so um, you know, I'm excited for Mythical. Shout out to Mike, to Blake, um, to the two people that prayed for me. Um, thanks for being on my team. To my family for staying here and letting this moment happen where we can be a difference and an impact on culture, country, people, hearts, minds, and change so we can change and learn from the past and create and pave the way for a better future. That's what I'm excited for. So these stories that you're going to see on Mythical, some of them are going to be out of order because, like, I've had an eye stroke, so I'm learning how to draw all over again, and that's not easy. So some of them are going to look really bad, and some are good, and that's okay. Um, but we're going back to what works in the beginning, what's good, um, and loved and respected, and that is stories that matter. And so Fort Worth is going to be a big one that you're going to see. Like I said, it's going to be a continuation of the first Santa's Rescue, and that was in Portland, Oregon, and then directly tying to that Dallas Santa's Rescue, which I did when I was in Dallas, and then that crossover event that I did 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So a lot of changes for Mythical coming. You're going to see a lot of books coming out that I'm bringing over to Voices for Voices. Um, I'm deciding on stories I ghostwrote for certain authors if I do that as well. And so we're in talks about that because those are my original content for Mythical. And I really am uncomfortable with people holding on to those and using those for the wrong reasons. Again, Mythical is about lifting people up, and we're going to bring families, we're going to bring millions of people on board to unite and not divide people and tell stories of hope, love, and faith. Um, despite our differences, despite our creed and color, our gender, we all love. And that's what Mythical is all about. Um, so that is what I wanted to update people on, is that's where we're at with mythical creatures, and you're going to be seeing a lot of changes coming. So thank you for staying on board, for our loyal fans of 95K, if I might add. Um, Thank you for being there in the hard times. We're going to be creating a lot of content in the coming future, and it's going to be worth it. You're going to see so many projects soar. We're going to be doing Kickstarters for certain events. It's not because we don't have the production money for movies. I want to be clear, but it's because we want to do more than what we have. And so we're thinking ahead. So when you see Kickstarters for books or comic books, if you give $1, there's going to be tiers, and a tier is going to be, we're going to reward those that give with souvenirs, stickers, or a toy, or there's different things, different events, different venues that we're going to be doing. We're going to be really big in the music industry also with Mythical, and we're really excited to partner with some big names in the upcoming year and years to come. And with music, with anything we do, we just want to be a voice and have impact. Religion aside, we want to impact people's hearts and minds with joy and love, and think about how to make a change in their life and others. Um, um, and I'm very excited for what happens next and where it takes us. Um, we've had a lot of trials and tribulations for voices and mythical creatures around the world, and me personally, David Solomon. And God is rewarding that. He rewards those that follow him, that know him. We reap what we sow, and we are learning what we are reaping now through what we sowed in our seeds. And people have heard us and heard our cries and heard our prayers, um, and God is going to reward that. And he also rewards people that stand on truth. And that is what we are doing, is we are bringing the truth. So again, I'm excited to bring content to you. Check out Brody James and the Christmas Rescue by me, The Young Siren Born, The Dream Dimensions by David Solomon, me, The Search for Drake Colton by Ryan Solomon, a 9-year-old at the time, now 10, who published his first book and wrote it. That's a pretty big accomplishment. Liberty by Amanda Solomon. That is her story, her book. Phenomenal. Check it out. You don't want to miss it. Our first comic in our Mythical Creatures Around the World series. It's called The Adelan by David Solomon. Please check it out. Look it up. It's going to be really cool to see what God brings uh, in that journey. We bring so much. The Seaman by David Solomon. I wrote that in Boston. Uh, my mom did some of the editing before that, and then I went and the ending to honor her. Check it out. Phenomenal. Santa's Rescue. We're going to be republishing that. We're really excited. And then a new title, The Chosen Ones. is going to be for kids at ages 7 and up. Really excited for it. Takes place in Southern Oregon, about God choosing this group of kids that hear Him and no one else does. Really excited to bring that to you, Miss of Oregon. Um, and then Turning the Tides, as you know, is a project that we're involved in Oregon. Um, Adrian and Jez, to name a few. So we're going to be pushing so much content over. The Blue Boy and the Finn Kitty is going to be one that we're going to push over as canon. And there'll be some new artwork, new everything, just remake and model, if you will. And again, we're going to be doing that canonized uh, timeline. So everybody who follows Mythical, here's how it works. Um, every year since 6 years old, I've written a story, and it's going to be canonized in that year that I wrote that story. So you're going to meet all these characters and have about 450 novels to get through to build that universe. Maybe you connected with the characters I created at 6, or maybe you connect with how old they are now. We're going to watch these heroes age. We're going to watch next generations. We're going to watch future. We're going to go back to my mom and her storytelling back in the 80s. We're going to see different projects emerge from different times, including World War One in Oregon, actually, and cowboy times in Texas, biblical times. Really excited for that. So think of it like a anthology almost too, where I've created this since I was 6, and I could do what Marvel's done, and like, this writer created this at 6, and now he's publishing it now as an adult. But I don't want to be everyone else. These characters were created for that time, and they serve their purpose to bring me closer to God and also others. I also preached my first sermon when I was 10 because of those characters. And that's going to be brought in too because people actually came legit to God. So these stories, I'm talking about the staff, one of my most famous projects that I did at youth camp. I think I was 11 at that time. Um, People came to God through the story I did. And so we're just going to watch God work. It's going to just be mind blowing how it works and touches generations. And I'm really excited. I'm excited for Justin because Justin gets to have this moment. I'm saddened by the people who have been lied to, also, with people uh, saying they're mythical and trying to embellish and embezzle money that was mine. Um, a special shout out to Joe Trujillo for sticking in there, Tyler Sexton, Mark Westaway, to name a few, that have been so loyal and loving to the cause. Um, Mythical creatures around the world, although we'll be doing fundraisers, we'll be doing it the honest way and not the wrong way, with Kickstarters, with GoFundMe's for other projects separate from the TV projects that we're going to be doing. RPGs are going to be a big way that we're going to hit the market. So we really want to get into the gaming environment and get Christian gamers together. So that's the update for now. Um, and I hope everyone is just um, encouraged by this message on this St. Patrick's Day, and also by Easter coming up, Resurrection Day. Amen, right? So be encouraged, Justin.
Yeah, thanks, David, for that update covering so many different areas. And again, a big shout out to all the viewers and listeners that have stuck with us from the beginning, or even if you're just jumping in now. Uh, it's it's amazing what can happen when you just kind of stick through. Um, Kind of the good times, the bad times, and everything in between, and that we are very uh, very excited and what is to come over the next months and years. Um, and we're happy to bring you along, and you know where to find us. You can check out our social media pages. We're everywhere. And of course, with our Voices for Voices TV show and podcast that you're either watching or listening right now. If you can share, yeah, again, something that's free. If you can like, follow, subscribe, share, reach out to people in your contacts and in your phone, let them know about the work the mythical creatures around the world is doing and will be doing, as well as Voices for Voices. It's really going to be an amazing time, and it has had we have had some very, very deep valleys in this time, and just sticking to kind of the morals and the ethics. I and Having that faith has been huge. Um, and so we want to thank David for joining us today on this episode to give us all those updates and giving us a little peek into the future. And again, a big shout out and thank you to those individuals that David mentioned, that we're going to do things the right way. Uh, may take a tad longer, or it might not. But just know that when you hear or see Voices for Voices, if you don't see me, it's a fraud. If you don't see David with mythical creatures around the world, it's a fraud. And we're just calling it what it is because um, we're not going into other people's business to do things, and so we don't believe that others should be coming into our business and trying to claim anything with as it relates to mythical creatures around the world and Voices for Voices, uh, because it's just not right. And so there's going to be a lot of people, and there has been, and still is. There are people that are, claiming to be, running the organization, and you're looking at and you're hearing the two people that are running mythical creatures around the world and Voices for Voices. So if you don't see us, hear us, when these projects come up, when these Kickstarters and GoFundMe's, uh, if there's going to be fraudsters everywhere, which we've already learned that's something where you just have to be on the lookout for. And so we're asking you to do the same thing. Please do your due diligence before you step into a project with us and make sure that it is truly a Voices for Voices and a Mythical Creatures Around the World project, and not a fraudster trying to make some money for themselves to pay back loans that they took out, and have a Ponzi scheme or whatever it may be. So you're looking and you're hearing the individuals that represent mythical creatures around the world and Voices for Voices. So with that, we want to thank David for joining us on this episode. and we look forward to the work, the projects to come, and we're excited to bring you and all your friends and colleagues, loved ones, teammates, and more with you. So thank you very much. And please let's celebrate the voices of everybody and let's be a voice for ourselves or somebody else that may be in need of sharing their voice that may not be able to. So we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.